Manuj, welcome to the show. We've known each other for a little while now, a couple of years. Clearly, you're one of the world's leading thinkers in AI and in business and using AI in business. I believe you had some interactions with the members of the United Nations, but give us a little bit of a background. I'd love to just get like a quick 30-second who are you, and give us some accolades, and then I want to go dive back deeper into your whole story, but maybe we could start there.
Well, thank you so much for having me. My background, my story basically in 30 seconds is I went from a factory worker earning $2 a day, now being a global thought leader in AI, served clients like Microsoft, IBM, Pearson Education, built global systems which generated over $500 million in value, impacted about 10 million lives. I have 4 patents in artificial intelligence, written 2 books on technology. I mean that's me, just a humble person from India and trying to use technology to impact the world.
That's amazing. So, for the folks that are watching and listening, I want to give y'all just a little snapshot of kind of where I envision this conversation going. We're absolutely going to explore AI, the implications. What does it mean today? What does it mean tomorrow? What does it mean for the future of work and humanity and people? But I do want to also go back and dig into your story a little bit more and kind of track your career progression from working at $2 an hour to now being on a global scale. That's incredible. So let's dig into that. So I'm going to ask you the question of what is your story, and let's start from the very beginning.
Sure. So my story, I grew up in India, and at age 15, I grew up in a very small town in India. And small towns in developing countries, back then India was a developing country, still is in many respects. You don't find a lot of opportunities there for higher education or job opportunities or anything like that. So I did what I needed to do, which is started working in a factory at 15, 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. And it was a tough life. And I just knew that there was meant to be something else in life rather than slaving away in that factory. So I started looking for other ways to create value. How can I improve my life? And I was going through some business magazines one day in the factory, and I read these stories of these tycoons who had built their empires, became millionaires and billionaires from nothing. And I was like, okay, if these people can do these amazing things, then there is nothing stopping anybody else from doing it, because these are also humans. And so at that time, it was like a pipe dream. I was like, okay, like I still need more inspiration, but something shifted in my mind at that time. So started looking for other ways to create value, and I came across computer programming institute, and this was the first one that opened up in our small town. And I was like, okay, computer sounds really exciting, so I want to do that. And I couldn't afford the fee the first year around, so I enrolled the next year, and I just fell in love with technology, programming. I was like, okay, this is exactly what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. And then I came to Canada in 1998. Got a job. That was the dot-com boom time. Those in the audience who are old enough to remember, a very exciting time. There was a lot of activity, a lot of companies becoming multi-billion dollar multinationals. But then I also lost the job in quick succession, multiple jobs, because of dot-com bust, and then September 11th, and then Gulf War. So then that forced me into entrepreneurship. So I started my own technology consulting company, started helping many startups build their technology, build their products. And then I got an opportunity to help Microsoft and Pearson Education. So with Microsoft, we built a global system that used to process their enterprise client licenses. That's like, at that point, it was like, I think, $40 billion worth of business every year for Microsoft. And then with the Pearson Education, we built a global system to support about 5 million students. So Pearson is one of the largest educational technology company, and so that was one of the first sort of educational platform we built, and it at the height of that platform, it was generating about 400 million annually in revenue. So I had all these experiences working with some massive projects as well as startups, and in the meantime, I was getting a lot of sort of personal challenges in my relationship with my spouse, with my parents, which led me into depression and almost suicidal thoughts. So I needed to figure things out. Like, I didn't want to live a depressed life. So I thought again, as an engineer, I always look for solutions. So I looked for solutions and talked to a lot of psychologists, psychiatrists, and didn't really help. But then I found some relief in meditation, learning about the mind, learning about neuroscience, how we create our own reality. And so that sort of helped me to come out of my depression. But it also taught me the parallel between artificial intelligence and our human mind, our human psychology, and how they interact with each other. And so I saw the evidence of how the world is already impacted, already changing because of AI. Even the elections for the highest office were being influenced by AI. I mean, social media platforms are basically just a bundle of AI algorithms. So I was like, okay, if AI can impact people at that level, then surely I can make an impact, a positive impact with AI. And I started thinking, okay, a lot of people are anxious and stressful. Maybe I can use AI to help them think clearly, become more, almost help them experience meditative state, just like I experienced it. And I started working on that. But then soon I found out, like, people are more interested in making money rather than getting rid of their anxiety and stress. So I thought about it and I said, okay, if AI can be used to create that impact in the mind, it can be used again to attract clients, create a buzz in the marketplace, create more loyalty in the current customers. So that's what I started working on, and that's sort of where I landed. Where now AI, so I have this unique skill set of using neuroscience to understand what we want to happen in the target audience mind, and using AI to actually make it happen. So that's a very powerful combination, and that's the story.
Wow.
Mhm.
So, okay, there's so many things to unpack there. Um, the first one I think we should touch on is this beautiful transition from you being at what seems like a very low point of struggling mentally and emotionally, and you're building a business at the same time. You've gone through all of those struggles. I mean, see, it seems like you moved halfway across the world, and
Mhm.
then that was right in the middle of the dot-com boom and then the resulting busts.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so there was turbulence there. You're forced into entrepreneurship, and you have the grit to keep going and to build it. And as you're building it, then there's all this other turmoil. And then all of that, you try to solve it with, I would say more traditional methods. It doesn't work. Then you discover meditation and you start diving deep into the brain. And then through solving your own, what seems like your own biggest struggle,
Mhm.
it
Mhm.
leads you to learning about AI and seeing this parallel, which creates this new incredible combo of skills and beliefs and understandings. Wow, that is freaking powerful. I guess
Mhm.
what the question there, because there should be a question in there somewhere,
Mhm. Mhm.
but the question I guess is, what does that mapping actually look like? Like the brain, the neural architecture, the AI architecture. Is it the approach? Is it the actual mappings of like how they're built? What are those parallels, and what can we learn from that?
See, at the end of the day, human experience is all about the stories that go on in our mind. Most of our life is actually controlled by our subconscious mind. In fact, 95% of our actions um, in life they are controlled by the emotions we feel, the stories we are telling ourselves in the back of our mind. And most people don't realize what is going on. They take the action, and then the 5% of their rational mind that explains to them why they did something. So a good example could be, let's say you go to a car showroom and you buy a nice red, bright red looking car and shiny, and you rationalize and saying, oh, it has 4-year warranty, it has really good mileage and everything. But at the end of the day, why people buy that red bright car is how it makes them feel, and how people look at them, and what is their perception of themselves. That is what the reason is, right? Now once you understand it, and this is uh, sort of a universal thing, where once you find out the reason behind somebody, why somebody is doing something, then you can tap into that and say, okay, I want to create that, or I want to shift it, I want to create a different version of this reality for them. And now the idea is, okay, how do we do that? The mapping now becomes, with artificial intelligence you can create that story that will resonate with them. So a good example again is when we go to Facebook. Facebook is going to show us exactly the kind of content that its algorithms have found out that we engage with. It knows that something annoys me, or it knows that I am interested in something. The idea is that the AI algorithm is going to give me more of what I like and I engage with. But the problem is with traditional social media platforms, their AI algorithms are fine tuned or optimized for engagement. And as humans, our nature is to engage, or to express ourselves more when we are agitated. So, meaning, in short, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, all of these AI algorithms are fine tuned to agitate us, make us more anxious, so that we can engage, we can click on ads, we can do all of that stuff, right? But you can reverse that trend, and you can optimize the AI algorithm to say, okay, I want to plant a positive story in this person's head. You know, they may not feel like they are worth something. So then I can share a story that is personalized to them, that makes them feel more worthy, that makes them see their own qualities or whatever. If it's a business environment, we can create a story which puts more limelight on a particular brand or a product or a service, um, showcases all of these things. And this is just scratching the surface. Like once you really understand how data reveals what people are thinking, then you can. I mean, it's like a magic wand. If I know what you're thinking and I know exactly what you want, there's no limit to how much I can do that, but do with that. But if we stick to the positive side of things, I can really make a positive impact in people's lives, right?
Okay, so let me just make sure I'm tracking here because I think you're onto something profound. So, like, what immediately pops into my mind is something that I read not too long ago. It was in the book called The Art of Learning by this gentleman, Josh Waitzkin. Was like a chess grand champion or world champion as a kid, and then as a slightly older kid became then a Tai Chi push hands world champion. So
Mhm.
incredible human being, right? In his book, he was talking about how most of the thoughts in our heads come from mental addiction, and we're just kind of trapped in this swirl of emotion, and it's very hard to cut through the noise. So
Yeah,
what kind of pieced together in my mind as you were explaining that to me was um that AI might be able to help identify what it is that somebody's struggling with, like what their biggest
exactly.
pain point is. And
Mhm.
let's say, for example, person XYZ is struggling with a feeling of like a certain insecurity of maybe I'm not good enough, or maybe they're
Yeah.
starting a new career, they're trying to do sales, and they're just scared to go do something. So
Hmm.
maybe the
Hmm.
AI could pick up on that,
Yeah.
and the story that then can go out, or the content, or however it's reaching that individual, could be a story about somebody who was scared about building their own career in sales, and these were the things that they did to fix it. When that person sees that, that's so personal to them. That's going
Yeah.
to click on like a deep level for them, and then they're going to want to keep going and engaging with that source of
Exactly.
content. And
Yeah.
so then that builds trust, and then they'll be more likely to do whatever it is the next thing. Because if you really understand what they're going through and you can demonstrate that you know how to solve it, that's very interesting to a person because that's what they're really struggling with. Am I kind of
Absolutely.
tracking right?
Absolutely. That you got it right. And then the other thing is like this can be also used personally. Like I once I realized this, you can actually try it. I'll share this with the audience so that they can try it out. Let's say you want to achieve something in the next 30 days or 60 days. It could be something small. Like let's say you want to take a trip to you want to take a small vacation with your family, and you have not been able to do that because you're busy, whatever. Use AI to write a story, a 2,000 word story about that trip as if it has already happened. Okay. And then read it to yourself for next 7 days and 10 days. You will feel so much different. You will actually experience that vacation. And most likely, that vacation will show up in your actual life within the next 30 days. That's how powerful AI and the mind interaction is. It's just that we as humans are not taught how to communicate, not only to others but even to ourselves. Like if I say to you, I want to take a vacation, if you ask me describe how that vacation will look like, I may be able to squeeze in 2 or 3 sentences. But with AI, I will be able to like really in vivid detail describe to you exactly what is going to happen in that vacation. And when your mind gets that much clarity, that's all you need to actually make it happen in real life.
That is incredible. Okay, so now I'm picturing the future of a future where we're using AI to like coach ourselves and bring ourselves where we want to go. Like let's go back to that sales example, right? For a budding entrepreneur, a budding salesperson, maybe you build or you prompt some sort of AI, and I'm picturing like a general AI companion, that you're able to
Yeah,
interact
yeah.
with, and
Mm-hmm,
so that's just kind of what I mean when I say that.
mm-hmm,
But let's say you ask that AI to train you or help you train yourself over the next 365 days to become the greatest salesperson on the face of the planet in the style of insert whoever you look up to in the sales
mm-hmm,
world here.
mm-hmm,
And then I'm just picturing like every day it's dripping you pieces of content that's helping you train and helping you fix your beliefs and teaching you like strategy. And maybe it starts with like beliefs, then
mm-hmm,
strategies, then specific technical action items, and then holding you accountable with like things you check off or like you respond to it when
mm-hmm,
you do the thing. And it's almost like this personal coach that you're asking the prompt, you're like prompting it in the beginning, and then you set it on this journey, and then it's very hard. Okay, so it's very hard for human beings, at least what I've noticed, to like continue with the same level of wanting to do something with the same level of intensity. So, like for example, you may really want to become the best guitar player of all time, but then in 40 days, that may have totally escaped your mind. But if
yeah,
you
yeah, yeah,
tell the AI on day one, it'll still know that with this and bring the same intensity on day 172 because it's
yeah,
a
yeah,
it's a machine. It's like it's hardwired to be able to execute on that.
yeah,
That
yeah.
that to me is kind of what this is speaking to is like
Absolutely, absolutely.
radical transformation.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And then not only that, like you can extrapolate it to society, to a community. You can actually like it's some people may find it scary or it may be used for nefarious purposes, but overall, it's a very good way to share your message with the world. Like for example, we are working with a Fortune 500 company to use AI to create a more positive culture in their company, because the problem is that in large corporations, the executives and the middle management and the field workers, they don't speak the same language, they don't share the same concerns. So with these type of frameworks with AI, you can actually really streamline that communication, create that bond between all the layers of organization, which leads to amazing increase in productivity and efficiency and just a general work environment and culture.
That is such a brilliant idea. That is such a brilliant idea because again, the whole organization, I mean, for a Fortune 500, this could be 100,000 plus individuals.
Hmm, hmm,
That's a lot of people to try to organize and all get rowing in the same direction. but a machine can figure that out. AI can absolutely figure that out. And then it'll know which separate data points to learn from and which people are where in their own
Yeah.
feeling and thinking about that to like bring them all together. That is that's an amazing use case. So
Mhm.
okay, so I think we've captured in a really interesting way what some of the opportunities are here and like what's capable, what's possible. And I really love that we dove deep into the psychology of it and how, how that actually could happen. I'm curious to figure out what does it actually take to execute on something like that, right? Could somebody who's like an 18-year-old has a computer, let's pretend they have like zero cash, right? How can they execute on that? And then what are like the different levels of being able to execute on this? What does it actually take to build something like that, to prompt something like that, and then to keep it going consistently over time?
Yeah, so absolutely, the key why the whole world is crazy about AI today, even though AI has been around for decades, is because it is available for free. So, a 18-year-old today can sign up for a free account and chat GPT. And this is what I tell people, okay? I tell them, okay, get better at two things. One, asking better questions, because if you want success in life, you want to be able to serve other people. And when you want to serve other people, you want to know what kind of service they need. That's a question. So as humans, we are taught in our educational system to get better at answering questions. But if it's not a good question, it's not going to be a good answer. So I recommend people start getting better at asking good questions. And with AI, you can really do that today. So a good example could be an 18-year-old person. Let's say they are good at teaching music. They can say, okay, go to chat gpt and say, okay, in my neighborhood, I live in New York, a suburb, and this is the area, blah blah blah, and I'm really good at teaching music. This is my background. What kind of questions people may have, or parents may have, or people who are aspiring to learn music, what kind of questions they have in their mind, or what kind of pain points they have in their mind, which I can address. And that's a very good question. Now, when you start asking these questions, you may not be as good, but when you start getting these answers from this super intelligent AI, you start asking better questions because you are following up with them, and you're saying, okay, that's interesting, but what about this, what about that, like how do I approach them, how do I what should be my message, whatever, right? Now you're getting really good at asking these questions. And this AI, which has immense knowledge. It has a PhD in marketing. It has a PhD in sales. It has a PhD in law, PhD in all of these topics. Is advising you. This is how you can set it up. And then the second thing, what I tell people, which I mentioned earlier, start getting better at telling stories, because human mind is not capable of connecting or paying attention to facts and figures. We are all overloaded with facts and figures already. What connects us is a human emotion, is something that makes us feel something. So if we tell a story, we the stories are always packed with emotions or feelings. So if you start getting better at these two things, you become a superpower right away. And an 18-year-old can be the next like superstar musician just by doing this in the next 6 months.
That's incredible. So find a free resource like ChatGPT. I'm sure over time I want to make sure this ages well. So whatever the derivatives of that and Google Bard, whatever they turn into, there's gonna always be, in my opinion, I might be wrong. We'll see how well this ages, but there will always be some sort of free access to AI. And then
Absolutely.
what I'm hearing is work with it, ask it better questions. You're training that skill as you're asking it better questions, learn everything you can about what you want to go after and do, and then figure out the ancillary parts. Like you said, it's a PhD in marketing, in sales, in a bunch of other things. So you could just keep asking it. And if you keep following up with it, I know, for example, there's just this one other site that, at least as of right now, as of the recording of this in May 2023, perplexity.ai. You can keep following up with it and it'll learn. And so you can have like an ongoing conversation. And it's a free tool,
Exactly.
free
Exactly.
resource. So
Absolutely.
that'll be a really good way to build. Okay, so we talked about the 18-year-old no cash. Now, if we can kind of level up a little bit, and let's say they've now become a successful musician, or maybe they've built a music teaching business, so they have some cash flow coming in. What's that next step of how can they improve their system, or maybe build something custom? What does that look like, and what does that cost? What does that take?
Yeah, so let's unpack this, right? So they have a flourishing business now. Now, in a flourishing business, other problems come in where scalability is a big issue. Like, how many students can I handle as an individual? So, can I teach AI to do the same thing that I do as a teacher? So I can sort of become more scalable. I can take on 100 times more students. Yes, you can. So you can create AI algorithms which actually train the students and also assess their learning and say, okay, yeah, you are, I give you A plus grade or B plus, or you need to repeat this. AI can do that. The other way is like, now I have captured the market in my vicinity. Now I want to go broader, but the 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 sentiment may not be the same, that of the audience in New York versus in the Midwest or in California. So unless I have knowledge about those areas, I won't be able to effectively market it. Again, you can say, okay, now I go to AI and say, I'm expanding my reach now. Tell me how I can expand into California. I can go international. How can I teach music in different languages? And AI can help you with all of that. The idea is that our human mind is limited in capacity. you know we can only learn so much because we only have this much time. But now with AI, you can basically add infinite knowledge to your human mind and act on that. So as a flourishing business, we know people are the most important thing in any business. So imagine if you have a flourishing business, but now you are hiring a Harvard graduate who has, again, this PhD in MBA, PhD in sales, and all of that stuff. Imagine you can hire that person tomorrow for zero cost. What will that do for your business? And now imagine you have some physical employees and you can hire an assistant who's an MBA graduate with their PhD. What will that do for your business, right?
That's incredible. So using a similar tool. Now, okay, one thing that maybe there's a little bit of a gap there is, how would I? So the first one, I feel like I could do immediately. Like I can go there and I can ask the questions, and then we're good to go. The second one, what I loved was the idea of having the AI duplicate what I'm doing and training the students so that I can now work with an infinite number of students, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And then
yeah.
and I'm even thinking they have little microphones wherever they are, and they're working on the computer with the AI, and like let's pretend it's guitar, like they're playing a certain chord, and the AI is hearing it and it is giving them feedback. And then it's saying,
Exactly.
try again. And so they do
Yeah,
it, and
yeah.
then they play, so on and so forth. But how do we build that AI? Like
See,
what tool?
yeah,
Yeah.
that's where you need expertise like the one that we bring to the table, where you have to customize things and you have to understand a business problem, and then you create custom algorithms, you feed it custom data, all of that stuff. But now the idea is that that investment comes back multiple fold, right? And then the other thing is, we have to remember that we are just at the beginning of this AI revolution. So everything that we do today, for example, in this case, music, we may need to create new algorithms. We may need to create new algorithms for accountants. We may need to create new algorithms for lawyers. But in 20, 30 years, this will become mainstream. All these specific AI products for specific industries will become mainstream, and now you can start to build upon on top of that. But if we talk today, if you want to do something that radical, you have to work with some technical folks like myself.
Okay. So at that point, When you're really looking to build something custom, then you need to get some developers and who know what they're doing, somebody who can kind of help you piece together a tech stack and bring some developers and whatnot. Or alternatively, always you could always bring in-house, to your music business or whatever kind of business, and then kind of build it out from there. Yeah, it would seem like even if you are building something in-house, you still want to consult with some folks who have done something like that before, because just kind of smooth out that learning curve and
Yeah, yeah,
and just kind of get to where you want to go faster.
yeah.
So just to and this particular part is not going to age super well, but I think it'll be interesting for people in the future to hear what it is today. But let's pretend that we do want to build out this cool music learning engine, that can scale and really create a music business like that. What would that cost today? And let's use US dollars as of whatever today is, which is May 2023.
Hmm.
Um, Roughly, what's that cost today?
I think it should. I mean, don't hold me to this number, but I think it should be, between less than 100,000. I will say.
Wow. So that's
Yeah.
basically one high-powered employee. So less than
Hmm.
one high-powered employee, and you can build out this whole system.
Yeah.
Wow. That's pretty incredible that we're at that point of technology where we can build something like that
Yeah.
cheaply. I mean, that's
Yeah.
that's absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so I'm curious to see, like, maybe we do a couple follow-ups, and when we're at our fifth or 10th follow-up in 5 or 10 years, whatever, however we end up doing it, it would be interesting to like do a cost analysis and jump back to our previous shows and see kind of
Yeah. Yeah.
the trend there. Okay, so that was kind of like, I would say that's like a small business that they want to invest in something they really want to scale big time. Um, what does it take for somebody like a Fortune 500? I mean, are they bringing their entire dev team, or they're building out a whole division to build this out, and then obviously working with some external people who know what to do? Like, what does that look like for them?
See, as the business grows, the complexity grows because there are multiple stakeholders, there are multiple departments concerned. So you have to. The complexity is not to tackle the use case, but how many things get affected by changing one thing. So when you work with Fortune 500, you will need to work with larger team and gather more data to say that if I make this change, it's not going to break something else somewhere else, right? So the example that I gave about changing, improving the culture of the company, like we have to ensure that it spans across multiple departments, because if we just improve the culture of one department, that is even worse, because now we are alienating one department from the rest of the corporation. That's like, that's even worse than a situation than before. So um, so that complexity, I wish there was a sort of a common theme or common sort of figure I can give you, but it all depends on case by case basis, the enormity of the project that they are doing. But rest assured, all these major corporations have been using AI for at least a decade, if not more. For example, like the financial markets today, the world over, 80 to 90% of the trading is done by machines, by AI algorithms, and it has been so for the last decade at least. Um, you know, oil mining, gold mining, um, all of these sort of traditional industries, they use AI to figure out exactly where to mine. Um, so AI is already sort of controlling our world in a way, but now it's getting to a point where we are thinking about use cases which we did not even think were possible. We are crossing that threshold now, and we will continue to do that. Like, it's going to continue to disrupt our thinking, because AI is intelligence, and it is growing at an exponential rate. So whatever we are talking about today, maybe in 2 3 years we won't be even need to talk to ourselves. Maybe AI will actually do the thinking and tell us, okay, this is your next step. Interesting anecdote is OpenAI, which is the company that invented ChatGPT. The CEO said that when they pitched the idea to the venture capitalists, to raise money. They said, okay, how are you going to make money out of this? And they said, we don't know, because we are hoping that AI will tell us how to make money out of this. So that's a true story. Yeah,
Well, it looks like it worked.
yeah, exactly.
That's incredible. Okay, so this is actually a perfect segue into talking about the future and what that's going to look like, right? And I think that's what's on everybody's mind. They want to know, they're trying to look into the crystal ball. I don't know if we necessarily can with super specificity, but let's give it a shot, right? So here we are today, and AI is definitely under the hood in a lot of things. It has been for a while. We have a lot of people that are racing towards general intelligence. It's being implemented in day-to-day life. Most people are not seeing it, but they're feeling it, and they don't realize that they are. Some people know that they're feeling it, and it's getting better and better and better and smarter and smarter and smarter. Currently, it feels like we are in a period of euphoria where everybody's very excited about it, and everybody's talking about how it's going to revolutionize everything and change everything. And it's a very clear path to seeing that that will happen. However, things typically take longer than we think they do. But then at some point, it crosses some sort of threshold to where it's just like a straight hockey stick up. And then it like totally changes everything overnight. So where exactly are we right now? And what does that trajectory look like? And where are we go? Like, where does this whole thing go? Where does it end up?
I think we have crossed that point of hockey stick threshold. I mean, ChatGPT got like 1 million users within 5 days. The next fastest growing platform, I think, was Instagram, which took about 5 months or something like that. Right now, ChatGPT has more than 1 billion users on it. Like it's been out for less than 6 months, and I mean, that's like, more than 15% of the world population. So we are at that stage right now. What will happen now from here on out? Like the rate of innovation will become exponential, because we used to have to work as human beings and use our intellect to think about the next step. But now we can just tell AI, hey, okay, we are here now. So now multiply your thinking power for tomorrow and think what we can do for the situation or the solutions for the problems for tomorrow. What will end up happening is that we are entering into age of hyper personalization, because with industrialization we had to settle for uh, mass manufacturing. With mass manufacturing, you reduce the cost of goods, but you also lose personalization. Like, you're wearing this t-shirt, you may only buy it in 5 sizes and 4 colors. Um, and that's because the factory only manufactures that many. But with AI, I will be able to say, okay, I want a bright purple color in extra large size, or I can go and talk to any company and say, okay, I want you to build a product specifically for me. That kind of personalization will start to come into the picture. Moreover, I believe we are going to enter into an era of abundance, where pricing of goods and services will come down drastically, because right now, any good that physical good we purchase, I believe about 50 to 80% of the cost goes into the service industry that serves that manufacturing facility, meaning banking, insurance, all of these things that that have been established, because as human beings, we just need these systems in place to be able to trust each other, to be able to transact with each other. But with AI, blockchain, all of these technologies coming together, none of these systems will be needed. We can just assume that I can trust anybody, because the systems are in place, that I don't need to pay banking fee, I don't need to worry about all of that. That'll drastically reduce the cost of manufacturing, and that means it will um, it will be affordable for all. There'll be more opportunities for people to start their businesses. I believe in the next 5 years we will see one-person company going public, and the reason
Wow.
is because you don't need employees, because you have this super intelligent entity doing all the work for you. So these kind of changes that are unconceivable today, we will start to see.
That is a very exciting future. And it makes a lot of sense because I'm sure there's a ton of inefficiency in the global supply chain to just jump to that one point that you had. So if we let AI help us figure out all those inefficiencies and then close that gap of where we are now to where it should be to exist in a very, maybe not perfectly efficient supply chain world, but way closer than where we are now, that seems like that will absolutely drive the cost of goods and services down, which is all, it sounds like, always a good thing.
Yeah, yeah,
It may not necessarily be the best thing for people that make money by selling those things, but there will be new ways to make money, and maybe money will become less important almost as time goes on because we have the things we need, and so it's more about something else, which I don't
exactly.
necessarily know. So that'll be really interesting to see kind of how that plays out.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, I'm just kind of curious as to like when all that's going to happen, and then who's going to be the first one to do stuff like that. Like who's going to be the first person to have a single person company go public. That
Mhm.
would be amazing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, see, you can see the evidence of that already. You can see these kind of things already happening. So let's name any rich person in the world, the richest people in the world, right? Jeff Bezos, for example, he started Amazon in 1997. That's like less than 3 decades, like 25 years, let's say, right? So 25 years, Amazon became the biggest retailer on the planet, and Jeff Bezos became the richest person on the planet. The next, the next biggest retailer is Walmart, and Walmart has been around for more than 100 years, and Jeff Bezos only took 20 years to get there and beat them. So you can see it is already happening, right? So with all the might and the power and established businesses, that Walmart was untouchable. you know People used to say, okay, in retail you cannot beat Walmart no matter what you do. Take Tesla, for example. It beat out GM, Toyota, Chrysler combined, and Ford combined in less than 10 years, because Tesla is not a car company, it's an AI company, it's a data company, right? So so you can see the evidence of that already now. uh, the problem used to be that these AI systems used to cost a lot of money and it takes a lot of capital. But now, as AI becomes democratized, everybody can use it and everybody can start thinking, okay, how can I use it to create something meaningful, something really revolutionary, innovative? And I don't need a lot of employees, I don't need a lot of money for that. So to answer your question, when, I think it is possible today. I mean, a lot of people are already making a lot of money today with their innovations, and it will continue to become more affordable at an exponential rate. A public company of a single person, I believe we may see it in next 5 years.
Wow. That'll be so exciting.
Yeah,
I can't wait. Hey, maybe it'll be you. Maybe you'll be that person.
yeah. Who knows? Yeah,
Who knows? Well, Manuj, I want to thank you for coming on the show. I feel like we've just covered so much ground. What I would love to do is circle back, and maybe whenever we decide to do it, but have a part two to this and catch up on where AI has gone since then until since now when we're talking to them whenever the next one gets released.
absolutely.
That would be amazing. And yeah, I'm just tremendously grateful for your friendship and for the ability to create some content with you and to dive into these topics. It's been a lot of fun. So I just want to say thank you.
Absolutely. Same here. Thank you so much.
Awesome. You're the man. And everybody that's watching and listening, I would highly encourage you to go to Manuj's website. It has been there in the corner right by his name. It would be www.manuj.ca. And I'm sure you can go dig into the rabbit hole and see everything that Manuj is working on. And then of course search for you all over the place. And I'm sure you'll pop up on their feeds, and there'll be some AI agents from you that'll come visit them and help them solve whatever problems that they have.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so
Awesome.
much.
Thank you very much. And everybody, I will see you on the next episode. Take care.